Maxton Hall, season two, let's go. I'm Lorena Coleman. I'm your host of Maxed Out, Breaking Down the Halls. And today I want to talk about season two. It is so good. I'm going to go over some of the key moments. And I think I have to begin with Harriet and Damien's performance. Wow, I don't recall any other couple that has given me butterflies. I mean, they don't even have to say anything. Sometimes it's just the way that they look at each other. They talk with their eyes quite a bit. And also, every time I see the close up of their hands, like I'm loving all of that. Oh, and Damien's performance, it is amazing. Every time that he cried, I cried. I mean, it was just so powerful, so moving. And then there's the music. I have to talk about the music. The music is so beautiful, so moving, and it really goes well with a lot of the scenes that I saw. Now, some of the songs that I had heard, I hadn't heard before, and some of them, I did recognize, but I gotta give a shout out to Songs in Cinema. I gotta give a shout out to um, Simmel, I hope I pronounced it correctly, Billy Raffle, and Forrest Black, just to name a few. These songs were amazing by these artists. So the opening scene, I want to start right there. So the opening scene starts in Oxford, and we see Ruby and James. It's a very passionate scene that we're watching, and they're very happy. Everything's looking great. And then after that, things really take a turn for the worse. The next key moment that I want to go over is when Ruby arrives at the pool party and sees James kissing another girl. But I got to go back a little bit. I got to go back to the end of season one. So at the end of season one, um, so Ruby has headed home on the bus, and James and Lydia, they are heading back to their home, and Mortimer tells them that their mom has passed, and she passed away while they were at the interviews. And James is really upset. He tackles his dad, hits him, all of that, and he heads over to Ruby's house. And I remember him looking in the window into the Bell house, and I kept thinking, just knock on that door. Just go ahead and knock on that door. They'll let you in. But he decides not to knock on the door, and that's how season one ended. And I thought, oh my goodness, I gotta wait till season two to see what happens. Well, now it's season two, and what happens is he ends up at a pool party at Cyril's house, and he's mentally gone. He's drunk. He's just totally out of it. And Ruby shows up, and he says to Ruby, like, you don't belong here. And he ends up kissing Elaine. But the thing that I remember too is the first time I saw that photo of him, of James in the pool, I gotta tell you, I told a friend, I said, that photo is gonna break the internet. I remember that photo being posted everywhere on social media. Everyone was talking about it. Everyone was just posting it, as I said. But yeah, so that was a big scene, seeing him just totally out of it, kissing another girl after that passionate night in Oxford with Ruby. So this then takes me over to the bedroom scene. So this is the scene where James, he's grieving, and Ruby comes over to try to console him. And immediately I remember thinking back to season one, episode three, where Ruby breaks down in the car and James is there comforting her. I kind of thought of that when Ruby shows up. Now it's season two, and she's comforting James. Like, I was looking at those parallels, and I thought, oh wow, now the tables have turned. And it was just so powerful. I know I keep saying that word, but just their performances, my goodness. I mean, I was feeling their pain. I mean, they were crying. I was crying. It was just so moving. And that brings me over to the day of the funeral, specifically the moment when James, he takes off in the car. I mean, he was unrecognizable. He was so upset. He's screaming, he's crying. Like, I was shaken up. I remember, like, I was really shaken up. Like, I was kind of scared watching this. And I remember actually saying this to the lead actor. So I actually met Damien last week in New York. I told him that I loved his performance, specifically this car scene, because as I said, it really shook me up. I've not, I don't recall seeing him his character like that in past episodes. So it was just pretty frightening for me. Oh, so just going back to meeting him in New York, I just want to say he was so incredibly nice. I really want to thank him for his time. I mean, he was just really kind. I was actually so nervous. There were so many things that I wanted to say, but I totally like spaced out, blanked out. I um I remember he asked how I liked the episodes that I had just seen at the screening. And instead, I'm talking about the car scene because once again, this car scene like really shook me up. So to answer his question today, should he be listening now? I thought those two episodes were amazing. I'm so glad that his character stood up to his dad. I mean, that was great to see. I was really happy that he sought professional help. So a lot of growth in James's character. So yeah, really, really great. As I said, I sort of like blanked out when I was meeting him. I was so nervous. The other thing that I had wanted to tell him was that I had seen a lot of his past projects, and I'm really hoping that future projects are available in my area. I actually haven't seen all of his projects because some of them just aren't available here in the States where I am. So, as I said, I'm hoping that future projects are available so that in my area so that I can see them. The other thing too that I wanted to say to him was that I actually have a fan page for him. It's Damien Harding Boston. But thank you again for being so incredibly kind. It really meant the world to me. So thank you again. So the next thing that I want to talk about is when James heads home from the hospital after the car accident. He pulls out the list that Ruby had made for him at Oxford, and he looks at it again when he goes to see her the day that she and her family are celebrating her getting into Oxford. And just him going back to that list, I mean, I thought that was pretty touching. Oh, but the scene where he goes over to see her while she's celebrating with her family, you know, I thought once again they performed their performance was amazing. I'm referring to Harriet and Damien. Their performance was amazing. It was just so emotional. They're crying, I'm crying, but the thing that really stood out is that like Ruby, her character, she's setting boundaries. She tells James that she needs peace and that it's not her job to make him happy, that she can't fix him. He needs to seek professional help, and James does seek therapy. And it was really great to see that because his whole life, his dad had taught him not to show emotion. So it was really great that he was going to therapy where he was basically laying it all out. Oh, this brings me over to the day of the speech at the gala. Oh my goodness, I cried my eyes out. James, oh my goodness, as I keep saying that, he knew that speaking out about his feelings, seeking help, grieving for his mom, like all of these were things that his dad had taught him, don't show emotions, don't show feelings. But, he did it. He did it for Ruby. And he says to her too that he wants to live, he wants to love. And I'm crying, as I said. Another thing that was really interesting that he said, not interesting, but I liked what he said because I think a lot of times this can be true just in everyday life. James says, on the outside, we show this perfect face while we're suffering in secret. And, as I said, that can be really true just with people you see every day. You don't know what's going on in their lives. It's really important to always be kind because you don't know what's going on in people's lives. But as I said before, I'm really proud of James's character development and of his growth. The other thing too that I wanted to talk about was episode 4. Now, episode 4 is my favorite. So much happens here. It's kind of like, well, let me just go back. So, the first thing that happens in episode 4 is that James, he meets the Bell family. And I was really happy about that. Oh, and during this time, they start playing Homebody by Billy Raffle. Now, I saw Billy perform live when he was in my city last month. He's amazing. His music is so good. But going back to the Bell House, so James, he goes to Ruby's room and we have some really great tender moments. Ruby, she reaches for his hand. Oh no, no, she actually she tries to reach for his hand, but then she kind of pulls her hand away and I'm like, "No, no. Go grab his hand." And also, I remember they had these like really longing looks with one another. As I said, a lot of times they don't need to speak. It's just like how they look at each other, their eyes, they're talking with their eyes. But yeah, so back in her room, Ruby starts to touch his hair and his face. And James, he appears to start to melt at her touch. He looks like he's breathing her in as he presses his lips to her forehead. And he says, "I've missed you so much." And I'm over here as a viewer, like just totally melting. And then they finally kiss. Okay. They finally kiss. Once again, these butterflies are coming out that I have not felt with any other couple on any other show that I've seen. And also, to a side note, okay, I gotta ask if anyone knows. Now, I rewound, is that the word? Rewound this over and over. When did James's shirt suddenly open up? Right? When did this happen? Because once they're on the bed, I see the shirt popped open. I'm like, when did that happen? So James tells Ruby that, eventually he's supposed to marry Elaine. And I'm like, oh no, oh no, no, no. So this naturally upsets Ruby. And, we see him comforting her, which is another tender moment. And they decide that they're going to keep their relationship a secret. But in the end, they actually come out as a couple during the white party or the white dress theme party that Elaine throws. Oh my goodness. Okay, so at this party, and yes, I'm kind of jumping ahead here, but at this party, one of the big scenes that they had, and once again, I think it broke the internet. Everyone was posting about it or posting it and talking about it, was the limbo scene. Oh my goodness. Wow. The other thing too that I remember about the that party is Elaine. She grabs his shirt, she grabs James's shirt and she's whiffing it. I'm like, come on, you gotta get over him, Elaine. You gotta get over him. So after the party, there's a really cute scene of James. He's walking Ruby home, and we see this close up of their hands as they part. And I remember seeing that in one of the posts that Mona Caston had, and I kept thinking, I bet you that's from their first date. But yeah, just like seeing their hands, just that alone, my goodness, so many emotions are coming out of me, and I'm sure everybody else too. Oh, so jumping ahead. Okay. We're still in episode 4. It's their first date. James, he is so romantic. He surprises Ruby for a private dinner on the top of some like rooftop where they have this passionate moment and they have this dance. Now, this dance here, I was starting to think back to season 1, episode 3, when they're dancing to, oh my goodness, the song is slipping my mind, and that can't be because I definitely know episode 3 so well when they're dancing to The Love That I Give by Rhodes. But yeah, I just was having these parallels from episode 3 to episode 4 when they're dancing. Just everything about their date was just perfect, magical, very passionate. I remember too during their first date, there's a scene where Ruby, she gets her dessert plate and she starts to lick her finger. The way James is staring at her, I seriously thought he was going to tell her right then and there that he loved her, because just go back and look at his face. He's just staring at her. I'm like, okay, he's going to tell her he loves her right now. So, as I said, they had a passionate moment on this date and they decide to take it back to his house. So we shift over to his home, but little do we know that Mortimer, the villain we love to hate, that Mortimer is on his way home because he was supposed to be away on a business trip, but I believe due to weather, they canceled his flight, so he's heading back. Oh, actually, I gotta go back just for a second, just going back to their date. So I heard a song called If You Love Her by Forrest Black during their first date. It is such a beautiful song. I had never heard it before. I'm like, I'm missing out. But the song, it's really pretty. It just totally fit this scene here. I really, really loved it. Oh, the other thing too that I remember now about that first date, we have a clip too, where Ruby she kicks up her foot as she's kissing James. I'm like, oh my goodness, just seeing her kick up her foot. Oh, I loved it, loved it. Okay, so a lot of butterflies are going on. So going back to, they're heading over to James's house. But little do they know, Mortimer is on his way home too because his flight got canceled. And after that, just, oh my goodness. Well, okay, I'm all over the place right now, so apologies about that. But they have a passionate moment in his room. I'm like, oh my goodness, wow, okay. And they get interrupted because the dad is heading home, or the dad has arrived. Lydia has gone to knock on the door to let James know that dad is home. So Ruby's like thinking, should she try to go out the window? So that Mortimer doesn't see her, but instead, James is like, no, we're just gonna walk down there, and Ruby officially introduces herself to Mortimer. Although she tried to do that in the first season back at the flagship store where the dad refused to shake her hand. But so now in season two, he shakes her hand and tries to, come across as being polite, although we know he probably has alternative motives here. Um, but yeah, so they officially shake hands and they meet, and I'm thinking, okay, what's going on here? But then from there, things kind of start going downhill. So much happens. I'm gonna kind of just jump ahead and talk about a lot of stuff that goes on that isn't necessarily positive, but just really important to mention. So, as I said, after she meets the dad officially, we find out that her scholarship it's been taken away. She had received the scholarship through Alice Campbell, and we know that this was part of Mortimer's doing because Alice didn't want to retract it. Mortimer probably like threatened Alice or something, and I think he did. Um, we find out too that Ruby's mom has been fired and that her bakery has been bought out probably by Mortimer, or I think definitely by him. So just everything that can go wrong is going wrong. Oh, and then we find out too that Cordelia's will, the mom's will, everything is being left to the dad, to Mortimer, which I'm like, no, no way, no way is that happening. And this actually stuns the twins and Cordelia's sister, who's appeared in season two. Her name is Ophelia. So yeah, everything that can go wrong is going wrong. Oh, and there was a scene too. I forgot. We find out that Mortimer, he has access to the text exchanges between Ruby and James, and he's able to see the history of their communication. And he also sees a photo that they took back in Oxford. So I'm like, oh no, this man, the villain that we love to hate. So now we're gonna go to the end of season two. Now, the ending was absolutely heartbreaking, especially when I heard the song Chasing Cars, which when I hear that song, I think of Grey's Anatomy. I used to watch Grey's Anatomy. I think it's still on. I'm not sure. I think it's still airing like 20 seasons later. But um I remember watching Grey's Anatomy and hearing that song, and it makes me feel really sad when I hear it. So in the final minutes of season two, there's actually no dialogue at all whatsoever. Yet everything that we're seeing as a viewer, it's so powerful. Um, and Elaine, she is so jealous, as is Cyril, of Ruby and of Mr. Sutton. So in the end, they get Mr. Sutton arrested and Ruby gets suspended. So what had happened, just to go back a little bit here, in season one, episode one, there's a few photos that get taken by James actually of Ruby and Mr. Sutton or Graham. that are innocent. Um, they're just talking, but to somebody else, if they were to see this, they might think because of the way they're standing pretty close to each other that there might be something else going on when in fact nothing is going on. But that photo got circulated to the headmaster, and it's making it seem as if Ruby and Mr. Sutton, aka Graham, is together with Ruby when in fact that is not the case. But this is all Elaine and Cyril's doing because, as I said, they're both jealous of Ruby and Mr. Sutton because remember, Cyril has a crush on Lydia and Elaine. Elaine is in love with James. So yeah, it was really, really sad the way it ended. And we have Ruby coming out of the school and she's so upset, so distraught. And James, he's holding her, trying to console her. And we see this drop, this one tear coming down his eye, all while Elaine is smiling. And I thought, oh my goodness, it's not going to end like this, is it? And it ends just like that. Oh, I know I skipped a couple of things. I mean, there's just so much that goes on in the second season, but I wanted to just point out a few of the key moments, or at least from my perspective here. But I did not forget about the lacrosse game. I know it's really important too, because this win, Cyril, he really needs it because he needs it for scouting. And also, he tells James that, he's upset about the way their friendship has changed basically since Ruby entered his life. And the other thing too that I noticed here is that towards the end, after James and Cyril shake hands, and it seems like they've amended things, it looks like Cyril has this look on his face, kind of like, oh, like, I don't know, like he feels bad or guilty because he knows he did something he shouldn't be doing, which is, getting Graham arrested and getting Ruby suspended. But I mean, that was just my interpretation of, the way the camera showed his face back on the field. But yeah, so much went on. Oh, I forgot another thing too that I wanted to mention. Um, James, he finally tells Elaine off. In the first season, I don't remember any dialogue between Elaine and James. But here, he finally tells her off because Elaine says something really horrible to Ruby, like, or to Ruby and James. Well, first, she comments on her clothing, like, oh, I didn't know curtains could be a dress or something like that, which is really rude. And then something like, your mom would not approve of the people you're hanging out with. I mean, that's really low as well, really rude. And at that point, James, he's fed up, he's had it, and he finally tells her off, which I was like, good, finally, it's happened. Um, but the other thing too, there's a lot of female bonding with the sisters. So there's Lydia, Lynn, Ember, and Ruby, of course, just a lot of their interactions. I really like seeing that as well. As I said, there's just so much that happens in season two, and I'm just going over some of the key moments. I mean, the big thing that I remember really is the performance by Harriet and Damien. I mean, they were incredible. Damien in particular, Damien, if I could give you the Oscar right now, I would. I mean, going back to that car scene, the way you were screaming, crying, your facial expressions. I mean, I was scared. I was really scared. I was so shaken up. Like, I actually rewatched it before I went on right now, and it just shakes me up so much. So yeah, amazing performance. As I said, I'd give you that Oscar right now if I could. So that basically wraps up season two. So good, so amazing. I want to thank the entire cast and crew. I mean, they kept telling us, Prime kept telling us that it was going to be worth the wait. And I thought, oh, okay, all right, I gotta wait a while. I gotta wait so long. It was absolutely worth the wait. I mean, it was everything and more than I hoped for with this season. The acting was great, the music was great, the scenery, just everything was incredible. I'm really excited for season three. I cannot wait. Yeah, just I can't wait for season three. I don't know when it's coming out. I hope sooner than later. I hope maybe by next summer, maybe by summer. Well, yeah, we'll see. We'll see. I'm just waiting for season three to come out. So I wanted to also let you know if you want to reach out to me, you can. I'm on Instagram at Damian Harding _Boston. So thank you for listening and have a great day.